Welcome to Old Guy Talks to Me, a podcast dedicated to helping guys create kick-ass lives for themselves and those that they love. Ladies, if you want to know what your guy is thinking, this podcast is for women too. Each week, a special guest helps you create that life you've imagined. We talk anti-aging medicine, personal growth, relationships and hot sex. Yeah, you hear me, getting laid more frequently, other guy vices, and topics that many don't want to talk about but need to. Just because you're getting older doesn't mean you have to be old. Don't want to miss anything? Be sure to subscribe, share, rate, and review this podcast. And be sure to go to www.thestandard.academy/magazine and grab a free copy of our new digital magazine, The Standard Academy, where we talk about erogenous zones, growing hair back, and other things that will help you create that kick-ass life. Now get ready to listen up and share with friends.
Now, did your parishioners know that you were a former wrestler?
That was the dilemma going into the ministry. Do you share this or do you keep it to yourself? And there were some people, a couple of the guys on the committee that brought me there that knew, but the majority of the people did not know. And that's the way I wanted it. I didn't want them to know that anyway, because that was behind me. But it eventually came out.
And when it came out, what happened? What was the end result?
It didn't happen like I thought it would. I thought they would become appalled and a lot of other things, but it actually happened because of a guy in the parking lot was beating his pregnant girlfriend. We had a huge parking lot and people would cut across, and this guy was cutting across. And whenever I went outside and I was going to get in my car, and I heard him drop the F-bomb in the parking lot. That'll get your attention in a church parking lot. And I screamed over at him, and when I saw him hitting her, and then he screamed back at me and used a few expletives when he did that. And so I just started walking towards him. I dropped my coat, I dropped my glasses, I took my tie off, and we kind of met. And I said, hey, you shouldn't be using that language in this parking lot. You certainly shouldn't be hitting a pregnant girl. And he kind of leaped towards me, and which was the wrong thing to do. And we got into it in the parking lot. I ended up body slamming him on the concrete. And anyway, I got him down and I let him up. I told him, I let you up. I don't want to see you hitting this girl, and I don't want to see you in this parking lot again. And so we had a service that night, and I was just devastated at what I had done with everybody seeing me, because the parking lot was full of people. They saw it too. And so that night after the service, I asked the people to sit down, and I said, hey, I just want you to know that I did something stupid today in the parking lot. And I told them exactly what I did. And when I got through telling them what I did, I said, I talked to the leadership. I told them I'd be willing to resign. And they started going, no, no. And they stood to their feet and applauded. So it was a different result of what I thought. The people were very, I don't know, they were very thankful that I did something to help the girl. So it didn't.
Well, I think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I find it outrageous that in 2022 and 2023, when there is a man beating a woman or women are in a fight, that guys are standing around filming it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like, you're sitting here filming this person being beat up. or in this fight. Maybe they're not being beat up, but you're sitting there filming them.
Yeah.
Are you what kind of man are you if you're sitting there filming it?
Right. Right. Oh, I agree wholeheartedly. I'm dumbfounded some of the things that I see on social media. And I always ask that question, Doc. I always say, what in the world? Why didn't someone help? Why didn't someone try to stop it? Why didn't someone come to the forefront and say, this is not right? So I don't know if it's going to get any better, though. It just seems to be getting worse.
Oh, I don't see it getting any better. I see it actually getting worse until people start to step in. I think a lot of times also people are worried that, especially if you're like one person against another person, you're worried that you're going to be the next target, especially if you have no training in defending yourself.
Right. Well, I don't know. This day and age, of course, the things that happened in my book happened in the late 80s and the 90s. It's a different world we live in now. I think about it sometimes when I see some things and I say something, you don't know if somebody's going to pull a gun and shoot you today. Mm-hmm. So it's a different world that we are living in. But I had a great mentor when I was a child, who's in my book, Miss Edna. And she used to love to quote Edmund Burke, who said that, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. And so I'm one of those people who cannot stand by and let evil take place. I've got to do something. And, I realize that one day it might catch up with me and bite me, but I would rather live life like I live it. And not have any regrets than to live with regrets. I just don't want to do that.
Yeah, I think that it's important to have an idea of what's right and what's wrong, and to be able to stand up for it. I think a lot of the issues that we face today are the fault of our generation, of baby boomers. Because we kept on saying, oh, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And no, it's not. No. It's not okay. Things are crazy, and they're getting crazier. And unfortunately, some of the crazies are actually in control. And I find that very disturbing. And so I used to be one of those people that, didn't really say much about stuff. But now I speak up. And regardless of what I think about what I think is right. And I think that we all have an obligation to do that, because by staying silent, we acquiesce to the craziness that is going on in the world.
Right. Right. We're just saying that it's okay without doing something. We're just saying it's okay, and it's not okay. Yeah. But you look like you're in great shape, Doc. I think you could probably handle it if you had to get into a scrape.
I don't know. It'd have to be a really slow scrape. I mean, I've never really fought, and I think that's something that I need to do. But I lift heavy. I'm a power lifter. I mean, I'm even at this point, I'm lifting 100-pound dumbbells, bench pressing. Yeah. And so, I do, heavy shoulder presses, but now I actually, I just started physical therapy because I'm way too stiff, and it's starting to affect me in other ways. But I think that, keeping in shape, I think it's important to have a balance between weight training and cardio. And, but I actually enjoy going into the gym and lifting heavy. That's why I still do it, because even though people say, well, at your age, you should be doing higher reps and lower weights, but I just enjoy lifting heavy, and I'm going to do it as long as I can. I'm hoping that at age 80, I'm still doing the same thing.
Yeah, I hope you do. By the way, the guy who was my tag team partner on November the 17th of last year is a dentist.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
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 When I read your bio, I said, I got to tell you about Dr. Jimmy McDowell. He wrestles as the Golden Boy, and his motto is, "I knock teeth out at night and I put them back in the daytime."
That's a great motto. That's a great motto for a dentist. So, where do you see yourself going in the future?
You know, I'm doing everything that I possibly can to encourage people, especially boomers our age. You know, I don't, Doc, I see some guys my age, and it just, I'm dumbfounded because I don't think I'm old. You know, even though I'm 68, I don't know how old you are. I'm 68.
I'm 70.
Yep, I'll be 69 in August. But I'm going to keep at it until either I, take a dirt nap or until the Lord calls me home or whatever. I'm going to keep at it. And I love encouraging baby boomers not to give up. And I just believe that, you get second and third and fourth and fifth chances, and don't let those chances go by the wayside. And so I'm having a lot of opportunities to speak, and I love to do that. And I talk to them, about the God of a second chance, and I talk to them about not giving up and having a plan. You are a planner. I can tell by looking at you. You plan your week out, you plan your day out. And so you're prepared for what comes against you. And so many people are just not prepared for anything. They just let the day happen. And I think you've got to have a direction in your life and continue to have dreams in your life. I have great dreams. I just finished my third book, and I'm hoping it's going to be made into a movie also. It's about the world heavyweight wrestling champion becoming the president of the United States. It's a comedy, but it's great. But I've already got it in my mind. The next book that I'm going to write, and I think about, I got in the ring at the age of 68. Ric Flair got into the ring at the age of 73 last year in July. And so I think about that, could I do it one more time or two times or three times or whatever? I don't want to get in there and look bad. If I look bad, I wouldn't do it. But if I could still get in there and look good, what an encouragement that would be to people who are older, who just have given up on life and can't give up on life.
Yeah, you see so many people that have given up, and that really are just going through the day, and they've gotten old beyond their chronological age, and they've allowed that to happen. So I want to go back to this thing about jumping into the ring again at age 68. Who was your opponent, and how? What'd you do? What'd you do in the ring?
Well, it started out last year in April of last year. My buddy, Dr. Jimmy McDowell, he called me and he said, "Hey, we're doing a big show down in South Florida. I would love for you to come, and I want to give you a table, and I want you to sign autographs and take pictures with people, and bring your copies of your books and the DVDs." And so I was thrilled. Absolutely, I'd love to do it. And then he said, "How you doing?" And I said, "Jimmy, I'm in the best shape that I've been in. I've been working really hard. I dropped some weight. I got too heavy, and I took off some weight. Went back to the gym real heavy and started working out." And I said, "I'm in great shape." And he said, "Are you in good enough shape to get back in the ring?" And I said, I paused, because I had not thought of that. And then I said, I think I could. And my wife, I had him on speakerphone, and my wife was listening, and her eyes got really big, and she looked over at me, and I said, "Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it." And so it was supposed to take place in South Florida, but it kind of just started mushrooming, and it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And finally we moved it to Orlando. And he said, let's do a tag team. That way, you won't have to work as hard if you're in a tag team. And I loved that idea. And then the opponents, we were supposed to work against the Cuban Assassin and Ricky Santana, and they had a commitment to Puerto Rico, and they ended up not being able to do it. And so we had some independent wrestlers in Florida. One of them is the Evil Prince Anaka, and then a guy named John Strange, and he was Strange, brother. So we worked against those two guys, and it was just great, from the moment I got in the ring first. I didn't want to jump in there second, so I got in first and went against the Evil Prince Anaka. He had a little height and a little weight on me, but I was prepared, because right after he told me about this and I said, yes, I'll do it, I have a friend who has a gym over in Kissimmee, Florida. He's a former WWE wrestler. His name is Alex Futro, and he trains young wrestlers. And I called him up and I said, Alex, could I come over and get in a ring with these young guys? And I just need to get back into the ring shape. And he said, absolutely, come on over. So I'm going every week over to Kissimmee, and I'm getting in the ring with 20-something-year-old kids, that didn't know what they were doing. So I would come home with a bloody nose. I come home with a black eye, come home with bruises all over me for about 4 or 5 months as I'm preparing to get back in the ring. But when it came time in November, I was ready, brother. I was ready to get in there and do it. And it just, it was second nature. I just remembered all of that training, and it was just an awesome experience to get back in there.
So what was the age difference between you and your opponents? And how about I'm sorry, what?
One of them was in his 30s, and I'm pretty sure the other guy was in his 40s.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Those are large. Did they basically harass you about your age, or was there some trash talking in there about your age?
Yeah, he did, until I arm dragged him. He did until once we locked up and I took him off of his feet real quick. That kind of went out the door. There was no more of that. He knew I was there for business, and so. It was great. I love it when people taunt you, because it just kind of increases my adrenaline when people taunt me.
Sure.
I was excited about it.
Yeah.
This is Oris from the Standard Academy, a men's lifestyle coaching program. Let me ask you, have you paid a price? Have you paid a price in other areas of your life for your professional success? Yeah, you know what I mean. Are you just in a roommate situation with your wife, or are you arguing all the time? Certainly there's no sex. And your kids, do they ignore you, or worse yet, do they disrespect you? Is that your case? Is your life not working out the way you had planned? If so, I'm going to encourage you to revitalize yourself and get on a short activation call with me. That's right, get on a short call with me. And I will, share with you some things that you can do to bring back that energy into your life. Go to the standard.academy /15-minute activation call and schedule now. That's /15 activation call, and schedule that right now. Don't wait. Don't hesitate to procrastinate. This is your opportunity to start the turnaround in your life.
Yeah. So you said you went out the way you wanted to. How'd you go out?
I have 6 grandkids, and all 6 of my grandkids were there that night. They were at ringside watching their papa. All they had ever heard about was Papa being in the ring, but they never saw it, firsthand. And so that night, all of my grandkids were there, and then both my daughters are married, and they were there with their husbands. And it was kind of funny. Both my daughters were telling their kids, they said, hey, this is what it was like when we were growing up. This is what it was like. And it was just a great night. I had people that came from the churches that I pastored. I'm serving on staff now at First Baptist Orlando, and there were a lot of those people that came over to watch me also. And so it was the opportunity. And I spoke from the ring that night too. They had an intermission, and I got in the ring and I shared my faith, and I couldn't have gone out any better way than the way I went out on November the 17th of last year.
Okay. Did you win or did you lose?
Oh no, I won, brother. I won.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been the way to go out if I'd lost.
Well, I just want to confirm that. I just want to confirm that. I don't want to leave anything, assume anything. So I just want to confirm that. So
it was the right way, buddy. It was the right way.
okay. All right. Well, I want to thank you. It was very interesting to hear your life story, your transition from a sickly kid to a gym rat to professional wrestler, preacher, and continuing on to the work that you do. And I think it's just fantastic. And folks, you need to check out the book, The Masked Saint, and also on Amazon Prime. It's movies available on Amazon Prime and other things. If you need to get a hold of Dr. Whaley, well, his contact information will be in the show notes, and also a link to purchase his book. So I want to thank you for coming on the program.
Hey, can I just have a moment to say thank you to you? You know, I met you at the Publicity Summit back last month, and out of all the people, and I have a lot of interviews that I've already done and a lot more to come, but out of all of them, I have looked forward to this one more than any of them, because when I read your bio, I just got jacked. I mean, the guy, my brother and age and everything that you've done in your life, the success that you've had, and just to start another career and doing this. And I read all those things about you, and I just got more excited everything that I read. And I just want to say thank you, because you're doing exactly what I wish more people were doing. And I think you have an unbelievable show, and it is a great honor to be on your show. And I can't thank you enough for having me.
Well, thank you very much. That's very gracious of you to say so, and I appreciate your comments. And I hear and feel the sincerity in them. So I appreciate and very great your gracious comments, and thank you. Thank you. So, folks, I hope you enjoyed this interview. I enjoyed being a part of it. And if you have not already done so, I want you to sign up for my free digital magazine at the standard.academy/magazine. And there's several articles in there to help you create the life that you want for yourself, including the clickbait article that's called "One Secret Place to Touch a Woman." And and as I've said before, it's not her clitoris, because that is not a secret place. So in the meantime, I want you to share, rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. Until next time, remember, it's all about creating a kick-ass life for yourself and those that you love.
Thank you for joining Dr. Orist and his incredible guests. Like what you heard and learned? Then be sure to do 3 things. 1, subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. 2, share this with someone who may need to hear it. 3, leave a review and rate this podcast. Opt in at www.thestandard.academy/magazine and get our free digital magazine with savings, articles, and deeper dives into cool controversy. Be the guy who takes action. Without action, you're not going to get the results you want. Thank you again, and make it a great day.